G'day punters, welcome back to Rapid Fire, and we've got Jason as a party who's still counting from the Doncaster, and John Walter from racingwatch.com.au. G'day boys.
PD.
You're going to bust out a couple of lines of Mr. Brightside for us?
Mate, you're lucky I haven't got it pumping in the background, to be honest. It's got quite a belting this week. So
if you gave me 10 minutes, I would have changed the intro. Very worthwhile.
It was a good day, one of those days everything fell into place after the heartbreak of Ice Bath getting beat in a photo last year by Cascadian, and I was on a 34s or something like that. So to get the chocolates this year was very satisfying, and a few other things fell into place on the day. Gun Deck, Cherry Tortoni, Lombardo. So it was one of those days where you'll always remember. It was great, very enjoyable.
And the big firm of Fireburn got back out again. It was like surprising.
Yeah, I got on at $2.80 on the fair. So saw it and went, I wasn't going to have a bet, and said, PD's declared it, I'll take some of that, and did. So thank you for that.
That's all right. No, it was a good week. Okay, so we've got Randwick this week, maybe. 137 mil, I think, Randwick in the last 24 hours. More to come. Maybe they transfer to Monday. I'd be surprised if they go ahead Saturday, but hopefully it'll stay at Randwick and they'll go Monday, if not worst case, delay a week, but I don't know what that's going to do to preparations. I suppose a lot of these coming towards the end of their prep. Yeah,
well, I mean, they delayed the Doncaster a week. Last year they delayed the Carnival by a week, didn't they? But that was start of the Carnival. And then the other year they moved the Doncaster to a Monday from memory. So I can't see them racing at this stage on Saturday from the rain we've had in Sydney. We'll just wait and see.
Well, the track yesterday at Canterbury was it averaged out about a 12.5 on our scale. But the sectionals on one of those races there, I think it might have been race 2, was like a 17 point something, which is sort of like, the heaviest of tracks in New Zealand. Yet they still raced on fairly safely. So, credit to them for continuing. And, well, we saw those horses coming down the outside of Canterbury Rail. I mean, that was what it was like back in the 80s and 90s. I mean, Canterbury used to be like that all the time. So, no big deal. I think as long as it's safe, they should continue to race. What do you guys think?
Just keep punting. Just race.
That's it.
It was funny. The first horse that found the lanes out there seemed to hang out there. I don't think it was any, pilot bloody decision. He just sort of ran to the outside and found the fast lane, and then it was James McDonald. But yeah, it was weird that it looked the safest part of the day when they decided to call it off. So I'm sure there was something behind it. Yeah, you would imagine that Monday makes a lot of sense with the forecasts and everything, but hopefully tomorrow's okay.
We'll see what happens. So we got a 4 metre rail this week out from True. Typically at this time of year, 4 metre rail, the inside's normally cast. It might be all right for races 1 or 2, but really if they race, it's going to chop up very quickly, and it's just going to be a testing track. But it is very much an on-pace setup, I think, for horses racing on speed. Obviously, plenty of fitness is going to be a key, and I think that's where we're going to find our opportunities.
Back and inside might be ugly. You get those races yesterday at Canterbury. They were copping so much kickback that back and inside might be ugly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off with the Percy Sykes race 4. I think that's our first race, isn't it, boys?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes, for 2-year-olds. Interesting configuration here with the map. John, what do you say about the market here?
Price is top sport. Price is Paris Dior, well backed into $2.50 off a little break with 2 bloody heavy trials. $8 OJ, $8.50 Willinger Beast, $12 Magic Carpet, $13 North Star Lass, $16 Dashing Legend, $16 Pantanero, $6.17 She's a Belter coming first start from WA for Snowden, 18 Lady Laguna, Kin 19, Swift Sweet 19, 26 Queen of the Ball, which is a little bit surprising, 40's the rest.
Where do you want to start? Who wants to start?
I haven't got much. You go, John, because I haven't got much on this.
It's interesting horse, Paris Dior. They've obviously targeted this race and chimed into it, and it's got that sort of different level of form to, or different angle of form, and I haven't seen Snowden give a horse 2,000 metre trials like this with just pure intent to be ready to go for this race. It's obviously had had just this race in mind and bypassed all the other races where the others have probably tried to get there or, maybe didn't quite measure up. But I thought, it's very obvious. $2.50 seems very short, even though it's couldn't have been better prepared. There are a number of horses I thought had good shit. I like this horse, North Star Last, that Tim Road had its first start. Obviously has to improve off a midweek maiden, but just really like the way it pricked its ears and was strong through the line at its debut. And horse like Magic Carpet and Dashing Legend I gave chances to, but Paris Dior very obvious and looks well and truly set for this.
Yeah, look, it's my top pick in the race. I don't think there's any spoil on the price now, as you say. So I couldn't recommend backing it. So at this stage, I'll probably, if that was the market I was faced with 2 minutes to go, I'd be staying out of the race entirely.
Yeah, seems super short to me. I think the only one I saw that you guys haven't mentioned is Dashing Legend, ran second to Seven Males on a 10. It's had the trial in between. Looks a clear target by the stable for this. It'll draw in 14, which I don't think will be a disadvantage. And the breeding Schnitzel out of Kneeling won at Warrnambool on a 10 one day. That's a proper heavy track. So I think it'll get through the ground at $15 maybe, but it's not my type of race and not something I'll be betting with any conviction in.
I agree. I'd rather be sniffing around those Dashing Legend 16s, North Star Last 13, even Swift Sweet at 20s, Magic Carpet around that, rather than chiming into 6-4 with confidence. Next,
yeah, I'll be looking onwards, and if I can't get a better price, the favourite. Okay, so race 5, we're moving on to the Arrowfield Sprint.
In the Congo, another well-back runner, $4.50 to $3.50. Mars do a little bit soft, $3.50 to $4. Palili solid $4.20. $15 back in earlier. $15 Ranch Hand well back in distance. Interesting runner. $16 Generation. $17 Paul's favourite Mautai. $20 General Bow. $21 Marine 1. $26 I'm Lethal first up, and Shakiro $41.
John.
Me. Why do I get to go first? I think I'm a bit, I don't know, Paul hasn't had a crack yet, but we have talked about this race, and I wish Mautai wasn't in it. I'd be super keen on In the Congo, but I do think with the earmuffs off, it may just go a little bit quick anyway, which could give In the Congo the perfect drag behind it. Drawn outside it, which is perfect. I think, this is an acid test for Marzu, and I didn't love the way Paul Lilly ran through the line the other day, as in, I think In the Congo sort of has 1,400 metre form behind it, where Paul Lilly doesn't. And I think In the Congo looks extremely well placed here. A little bit sad they've knocked the early price off. I thought they had the wrong favourite early, and unfortunately they got the right one now. And Ranch Hand for me, even though it's drawn inside back to 1200s, the wild card, I don't think it runs a mile, and it's better suited back to this grade and this distance.
Jason, have you got an opinion on the race?
Yeah, so I do like this race. First step was to look at the Melbourne horses, obviously both coming out of Group 1s. The William Reid was a weak Group 1, albeit Generation has promised a lot, but geez, I think he's under-delivered, but he will get through the ground. He's untried on the heavy, but a Schnitzel out of a Turpentine mare who started 6-4 in a Blue Diamond. I think he will get through it, but I just couldn't take him on the last run. And General Bow ran third in that Group 1. He's double the price here of Generation, but I think he's a risk 1,200 on a wet track. So I've looked past that Melbourne form. Paulele here, first time on a 7-day backup, is the big unknown. 5 from 6 at Randwick with a third in the TJ last week. So don't like the inside draw for it. So I'm left with In the Congo and Marzu. When I first looked at the field, I thought In the Congo was just an absolute go-to here. Carried basically weight for age in the Galaxy and was enormous, being taken on up in trip. I think it's got a huge chance, and I know the boys are probably not going to agree with me here, but and I know when you look at Marzu, it hasn't beaten much this prep. But look, he's a different horse since gelded, and he was only a couple of lengths off these big guys in this race in the spring, when well fancied. And I think the the gelding's been the making of this horse. He's just been super impressive. Wet's okay, and I think he's going to drift. And I think I'll be backing both of those two in this race, and I think the winner is one of those two.
Okay, for me, it's all about In the Congo. Yes, I would like to see Mautai out of the race. I'd rather it control In the Congo, but I concede the fact that if Mautai jumps with the field, it won't. So its only chance is obviously to take a set and beat it, which I think it can do still. I can't come into Marzu. I've backed it every start this prep. I just think the price is too skinny for me. I can see it's a chance, but it's just a price play that I'm against it. I'm against Paul Alley at the price that it is now. I did initially entertain General Bow as some sort of chance, but sort of watered down its chances. So, look, for me, it's just all about In the Congo. I think it wins, regardless.
Top that.
Okay, on to the Oaks.
Australasian Oaks. Here we go. He's a big field. Gypsy Goddess, new favourite, $4. Hinge $4.60. Honey Creeper $4.60. $6 Pink Ivory. 15 Biscayne Bay. 18 El Patroness. 21 Lavilli. 34 Charity Spirit. 34 Hope in Your Heart. 50's the rest. There is an interesting horse there, Velvet Lady, $51. It's been well back, 200s in.
Okay, Jason, do you want to start here, or have you got a...
Yeah. So there's a lot of... Well, you've got a long tail, this field. Then you look at the market. I'm against Hinged. I think it's a distance query on a wet track. So I'm against it. Look, I backed Pink Ivory at 4 or 5 times the current quote for this race weeks ago. So, and I'm seeing no reason to get off her. She looks an out-and-out 2,400 metre horse. Has won on the heavy. Bred, Redwood out of a mare that ran second to Maccabi Diva in the Cox Plate. Go back 2 starts and see her win at Newcastle. It was dynamic, beating 2 reasonably promising horses, and I thought she was really good in the Vinery over 1,800. She was slightly back in trip that day. I think the step up to 2,400 is going to suit her. Hutchings off for J-Mac on. John Sargent, a master with 3-year-old fillies. I'm going to stick with her and pray that the overs gods don't get me. I will be backing Honey Creeper. The Adrian Knox is generally not the race that produces the Oaks winner, but I'm just thinking of conditions. And she ran, the track held up pretty well last week, but, she powered through that ground at the end of that race. And, assuming she's going to get through it again here on a week back up. I don't know how she got beaten the Tasmanian Oaks at $1.50. I'm assuming I haven't looked into whether there was an issue with her there. But I'll back her as well. I thought the really interesting horse, I backed her in the VRC Oaks, is Biscayne Bay. Second up, obviously the stable just did it with Hitotsu, so they're probably following the exact same prep. She was very good in the VRC Oaks and was backed off the map. She's a Sebring, so at a price, if there was a blowout, $15, I'll be throwing her and everything. But please, J-Mac, Pink Ivory.
I thought this was a really tricky race, and the main reason is for the map. Gypsy Goddess was my go-to horse here. The thing I'm against Hinge is the 2,400 on a testing track. I was pretty keen the other day when it was over 1,850 and it couldn't get the job done. So I've got, fairly severe doubts. On raw ratings, though, Hinge is right in this. But I've got to bring the distance query into account in my mind and process that. And the way I've processed it is that I've marked Hinge second pick behind Gypsy Goddess. The thing about Gypsy Goddess that I don't want to entertain from a punting point of view is the map on the day. So that doesn't leave me with too much to go to. Biscayne Bay with the blinkers back on, I can see a case for it. I can see a case for Pink Ivory and Honey Creeper. But realistically, I couldn't sort of get warm enough from a map perspective, which I think is so important on days like this. So I'm really just going to stay right out of the race, and I can't offer anything.
Fair enough. I don't like the race much either, but I think Gypsy Goddess gets any luck at all from that draw early. And if I was Willie Pike, I'd be trying to stick with Hinged as much as I could early in the race and tag him across and try and find his back somehow. And I think very similar to Fangirl last week, that would change the race, in the first 200 metres of the race. And it's the only horse I could possibly back with any confidence. I like the horse that Jason's on, Pink Ivory. I'll be cheering for him because I probably won't be betting in the race myself. I love the horse. I just find it hard to back horses in their first preparation, getting right through to an Oaks, especially on a testing track like this. But she definitely does look a hard and tough filly, and Sargent's the right sort of man. Those New Zealand trainers can get those horses to New Zealand derbies no problem in one prep. So he's definitely the right man. Hinged, I agree. It's just going to get the right run, and it's going to look like it's going to be there for a long time if it runs the trip. It's going to be pretty close just on. It's not like Hitotsu, as in such a big class edge, but it's just going to get too good a run not to run well. And that horse down the bottom, it's got horrible form, as in a class 1 and a benchmark 58 Velvet Lady, just a bit of a knockout horse who's had 2 wins over 2,000 metres when not many horses in this race have even been to that sort of pain barrier. And I think Gypsy Goddess is the one for me.
Fair enough. Okay, Sydney Cup time. Next race 7. John, what's the market?
Brought by Dividend, we have got Stockman, which is a bit of a surprising favourite for me. $7 into 5, $6 Crystal Pegasus, $9.50 Chalk Stream, $10 Knight's Order, $11 Luncey's, $12 No Compromise, $13 Shiraz, $13 Surefire, $13 The Chosen One, $26 Dackeen Sweet Jr., Angel of Truth $31, LaBelle $31, Future Story $34, $41 the rest.
Have you ever seen a race of 19 horses at Randwick with 18 of them at 51.5 or lower? Unbelievable.
There's no spread in the weight, is there?
Imagine the racing manager when they go, can you just find me a jockey?
Exactly. I don't know. I was everything I'm finding, I'm like, why is this jockey on it? Then I realised, they couldn't find any. Tyler Schiller's riding the Sydney Cup. Louise Day, Maui.
And I think
Dean Holland up from brought Dutchie up from Melbourne.
Kay McAvoy probably, he was probably committed there to Dewey. So I'd say that Waller, didn't think he'd become available, and all of a sudden he's ended up on something. I think it was all, lock in your weight riders early, and they might have wanted to change their minds a bit late, but they'd already made decisions early, I'd imagine. So
Stockman beat the handicapper here, I'm assuming, with 2 weight for age runs last 2, because he didn't go up in weight for rating. He hasn't gone up in weighting when his rating's gone up.
He's gone up 1 point, I think.
No, I've got him going up.
He went up 6 points into Newcastle and then 1 point after that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he's on 107, 3 rating points behind Chosen One. He should have 54.5.
Yeah, you can't really rate him off the official rating in this race.
No, but that's the weights. The weights are done off that.
But that doesn't make any sense, though, does it? Chosen One 56 and Stockman 51. Exactly.
So what I'm saying is, the last 2 races he went up 7 points, and he hasn't been re-handicapped for those.
Yes, you could argue that. But really, we're talking Stockman, right?
Yeah, he is the race favourite. He is the race favourite. Sorry.
Well, you can get on with me. I'm hard against Stockman, so I may as well kick off here. I'm hard against Stockman. Double figures Stockman for mine. So I'm sticking my neck out again. Crystal Pegasus of the back markers, and I say back marker based on the gate. I think it has to go back. And I'm saying it's the best chance of those for mine. But the horses I want to be with here are No Compromise and Knight's Order and Surefire. They're the 3 I want to be with. Admittedly, it's a bit of a weird setup here with Rachel, Kathy and Jay Ford. But we have what we have in the race. And I think that No Compromise and Knight's Order, obviously Knight's Order leads, I'd say, Angel of Truth. I think the run was pretty good last week. We talked about that in our review show the other day, John. No compromise. This is a race I think they've targeted all along. We know it can go forward, and we know what it did last time when it did go forward. So, and Surefire, I was on last start, gets the blinkers here, and it's going great guns as well. So they're the three I want to be with, all at double figure odds, and I think that's the way to play the race, and I'm just betting against the favourite. And I will definitely save on Crystal Pegasus.
I'll go with you because I've not got much more to add, to be honest. I actually, when I thought UA was not going to be in the market, it was $2.40. I chimed in to No Compromise at $10 and Surefire at $10, thinking I was a genius. Now they're 12 and 13, and I can't work out why they're not 1 and 2 in the market. So the other horse I'm scared of is Chalk Stream. It's the only difference here. I think that they'll probably get past Knight's Order. I just thought, Nerve Not Verve got past him last time, and he's just too much of a sitting shot because he's so one-paced. I know the 3,200 metres it's probably up his alley, but I just think something will get past him, and I'm No Compromise from Surefire and Chalk Stream I'm scared of.
I just go back to, just on Knight's Order, I sort of was thinking that way myself, and then I went back to that Brisbane Cup race where it was very fast-paced. The horse led and absolutely bolted in and ran a career peak on the 7-day back-up, 4th up, and we've got an identical preparation here, 4th up, 7-day back-up. And that run the other day would have really brought it on fitness-wise, I think. So that's the thing that sticks in my mind.
Are you a little bit surprised they had the option of TC half over and chose to go with Rachel?
Well, Rachel's had a bit of success for the stable. I mean, she does. Once she gets them rolling along, they can race really well for her. I mean, if you think of horses like who just massively outperformed last preparation, was it Riadini? They're in a couple of mile races there where she's led and they were huge odds and nearly got away with it. I'm happy to be on her. Okay. I've got no problem with Rachel King, especially on a horse that's going to lead. I think there's maybe a bit of a premium built into the price because of that. I can't see why, but that's the way I want to go. I mean, I do concede that Chalk Stream's a chance, and obviously Luncey's a chance, but for me, I've just got to go with where I think the value is. So it's save Crystal Pegasus, and reasonable bets on No Compromise, Knight's Order, and Surefire. And I still like this.
What do you say, Mr. Brightside?
Surefire is my top pick as well. Loved its first up win in Australia. I think that run last start was a typical Waller prep run. Will come on from that, drops weight, most do. Kathy, but there's a lot of average jockeys in this. Agree, No Compromise, 6th up. Waller looks been a target race. Jay Ford rode Sydney Cup winner for Waller a few years ago, and Shroud. So okay with that. I think it goes forward, uses its fitness, handles the track. So they're my two bets, and based on what PD just said, I will be saving on Knight's Order.
Yeah, it's not silly because you'd be dirty if it kicked 8 in front around the bend and just kept whacking and you were chasing it in vain, would you? 10 to 1. It's not silly.
Okay.
Next.
Let's move on
I think
to
that's the first time in history we've all really agreed on 10 to 1 chances. I know it happened like that. Dormier was probably the last time. So hopefully it's the same result.
Moving on to the Queen Elizabeth, the big race.
Great race. Very elegant.
The $500,000 race that became $4 million.
Yeah, I wonder who did that. Are you going to enter something in the $1 million equestrian race, Paul? Are you going to find something for you?
I might have a chance in that.
360 to 310, very elegant. 480 Zaki, $5 Animo, 650 Due on the drift. Montefilia being well back since I last saw a market. $9 into 650. I'm Thunderstruck, $14. Think It Over 34, $71 Sand, 91 Mount Hopper.
Who wants to start?
Oh, I'll start. Jeez. I'll start. I mean, it's good to have a race where, we pot wait for age racing a bit. But, this is a great, great race. And I think anyone should back who they like here. I'm against on Thunderstruck. Price said after the race he was going to spell it, and his wheels spun in the heavy. Yet they back it up a week later. It's bemusing, so I'm against it. So trying to break it down, there's the top five. Montefilia's been smashed, which really surprises me. Montefilia ran a much faster time than Animo on the same day in those 2,000-metre races, noting they crawled in the Animo race. I can't have Montefilia winning this race just as a hunch. Douay, I'm against it, not for any reason. It's been going really well. That Chipping Norton run showed it's probably up to these. But, its last two wins have been dynamic, but I think anyone in this race would have beaten those horses like that, so I'm not getting carried away with it. So that leaves the top three. I was going to be with Very Elegant. I cannot believe the price. I'm shocked by the price. I was thinking I might be getting $6-7 after last start, but no one's falling for it. If you go back through a form, she often has a bit of a bad run before a peak performance. Go back through there, even in the spring. She did that. The races elude me now, but when I went back, I'm just pulling it up here. Before the Cox Plate, she ran average in the Turnbull. And then years before that, she ran, average in the George Main at $2.20, and then came and won the Turnbull. So it's not unlike her to do that. So I think she's the go-to here, and I want Animo to be the next octagonal. His record as a 2- and 3-year-old is the best since octagonal. I love him as a horse. I've heard he might have had a setback or something. You guys might know something about that. So I won't be betting heavily. For the sake of a tip, I think the winner comes out of Very Elegant or Animo, but could be wrong. And I don't want money to ruin my enjoyment of this race.
John?
I'll go. I like basically the opposite, which is good. I like this. So I think Douay's the horse to beat. Just loved its the run against Very Elegant, where it was unlucky, and Montefilia was bottled up there. I thought Montefilia came out and sort of dictated to Very Elegant, and I am always scared of a nature strip type preparation with these Waller horses, where they do have a bit of a flattish run before the grand final. I definitely concede that, and I know she's got the 3,200 metre form behind her, so she should be strong, but I just didn't like that run at all last started. Just the way she travelled, the way she didn't sort of pin her ears back like she normally does, even when she's beaten it. And even the run where she won, she sort of had every chance and was probably weakest on the line out of about 4 horses that are in this race. So I think Douay will sit back last and show a turn of foot. I love the 2,400 back to 2,000 here compared to everyone else in the race. I think that Montefilia would be up on speed and she'll run well. I thought $10, $11 was takeable. $6.50 is probably pretty aggressive, but I don't like Zaki. I'm happy to risk Very Elegant at the price. I think Douay and Montefilia were the ones. I missed the price of Montefilia, and I'm scared of Animo, but you can't have them all. And it did have a little setback there. I think he had mucus present or something. I don't think it was anything too crazy, and I think it cleared up in a couple of days. I don't think he missed any work or a gallop or anything. I think he's okay, but I'm just happy to risk him coming out of those 3-year-old races at the price again. I just settled with the 2 mares.
He was very colty his first 2 runs. He's prep in the yard apparently, and was settled down before the Guinea. So anyone that is keen on backing Animo might be worth waiting to see him in the yard, because if he plays up against his crew, it's not going to be good for him.
Tough task.
Okay, so the way I'm going to play this race is make a book. I've already taken an early position on Montefilia. I thought it went like an absolute jet the other day. I can see the merit in the times, and I can see it handling the conditions well. I thought Zaki was a genuine danger racing up on speed, has won the All-Star Mile, and of course I know that was a jog, but we have seen the form come out of that race and run the trifecta in the Doncaster. And Douay, who I've been with pretty much all the way through this preparation, or at least from the Chipping Norton onwards, and have done well with. I'll be having it in there as well. Look, Very Elegant's obviously a chance in the race. I don't think it's anywhere near a 2-to-1 chance. I think it should be a lot longer, and I think Animo should be longer. So I'm really just playing what I see as the weakness in those 2 runners. and making a book around Montefilia, Zaki, and Douay. And I should be able to do that around about 55% or so, I suppose, in the three. So I think that's a reasonable approach to this race.
It's keen to hear you line them up too, especially the 3-year-old against the older horses. So I'm happy that you're happy to let him go around at the odds.
Well, I'm happy to let him go around. Not that I don't think he's got improvement, because he obviously has got improvement if he got back to that sort of Cox Plate number. It worries me a little bit about the talk a bit that they've had with the setback. I mean, we've heard those sort of things before where they come out and win and it seems to have done nothing, but I'm just prepared at $4.60 to leave it out. I mean, if it got out to sort of $8, I'd be somehow trying to include it. But all I'm saying, I'm just looking at the market right now and saying, well, the weakness for me is Very Elegant Nanamo, and I got the decent price Montefilia, so I can build a book now around those other two. So happy to do that.
That's good.
Okay, so let's move on now to the Queen of the Turf, race 9.
Wrong screen.
We've got a market here.
Too many screens. Here we go. Queen of the Turf, big field. Absolute nightmare. Wrong button. $4 Colette, $5 Ice Bath, $7 the interesting one Yonts, $11 Fangirl. This is why she's not in the Oaks. Too good, Chris Waller. $13 Lighthouse, $15 Promise of Success, $18 Anavisto, $21 Steinem, $31 Nimmerly, $31 Shout the Bar, $34 Arbrader, $34 Hungry Heart, $34 Quantum Mechanic, $40s the rest.
Jason, what do you say?
With pleasure. My best of the day here is number 15, Fangirl. Very, very key. I love following Waller. He's very predictable in terms of his lead-ups. If you go back to 16, 17 Fox Play, when she won this race, she went Surround, Far Lap, Vinery, fourth in the Vinery and Fave, and then came and won this race. The next year's Cummings did the exact same prep with Alizé. It came and won this race. And then Waller also did it with Fun Star, SP'd 6-4 in this and got beat by Conditi Patiro coming second. So the prep for me is absolutely perfect coming into this. Know she'll handle the wet. After her run went back into the Surround where that heavy 10-day just got too far back, wasn't one of Bowman's best, but ran home well. So I'm confident in the ground. Love the wide barrier. Abdullah's on a high, 18 back to 16, all over her. Cannot believe the price. Have just kept betting some of the winnings from last week at $13 and will continue to, just on principle. And I will not be losing on Colette because I believe she's a superior wet tracker. Got beat by a horse who was absolutely flying last start. If you forgive the Chipping Norton run, and even going back to the sprint, she got better through the prep and won the Group 1 equivalent in Melbourne really convincingly on the dry. I think she's right in it. I won't be losing on her. 2-horse race for mine. I give Yonsei none, even though she will improve on a wet track. Huge step up. Wait for Age can't have her. Ice Bath just doesn't win. Black type races. Lighthouse, it was just okay. Promise of Success at Wait for Age can't have. Anavisto doesn't go in the wet. Steinem will win a Group 1 one day, but not this one. That's it from me.
And Lighthouse, what did you say about Lighthouse? I know it's been up for.
Yeah, look, I didn't mind its run last week. I just think deep, and I hate saying deep in the prep because he's stable. It doesn't really matter, but. They've won the Coolmore. They've gone into the Donny with a decent weight. She ran okay, backing up again. Look, she's a decent horse. I really like the horse. I just think there's other horses here who are better set up for this, and we'll have her measure on the day.
John?
I'll go next because I agree completely, and I can't add. I can't see why it's not favourite.
Fangirl?
Pardon me, Fangirl. Yeah, I can't see why it's
really?
not favourite. I can't. Well, I would have it. Yeah, favourite. And I can't see why Colette's a third of its price. I love the 1850 back to 1600. I love that it's getting a little bit of weight off them, and it's a horse right on the up. also says here there's a few horses on the up here, but nothing like her. She's a big, strong filly that'll be, he just needs even luck from the draw. I agree with you that Abdullah's mentally flying. He's capable of doing anything on a horse at the moment, so it's not a big drop from Hugh Bowman, even though it was given a PR last start. It's the only, I just couldn't find another horse that I'd want to back in the race, even close to want to back in the race, whereas Fangirl, and you're getting, as you said, sort of $10, $11, $12. I'd even be backing it, each way before I'd be saving on anything. I just think she's got to run well.
I don't like the race, and once again, it just comes back to the horses and map. I suppose that purely on ratings, and in this sort of a setup, I think Colette's the go-to, but I don't particularly want to take 3-1 where it's going to be back in the field. So I concede Fangirl's a definite chance, and she should be obviously in front of Colette. I was sort of interested with Lighthouse going back to the 7-day backup again after failing coming off the 7-day backup run there in the Doncaster, but still wasn't a poor effort. But it's also been up a while, and is it going to handle the conditions well enough if it's absolutely bottomless? But from a map point of view, it does get a nice run behind what should be a decent clip up front. So. I could entertain throwing something on Lighthouse and something on Colette, but they'd be small bets.
Yeah, and so Lighthouse on the 7-day backup won the Coolmore.
Yep.
And then there was 3 weeks between the Coolmore and the Donny, so she's back to the 7-day backup of one of the Coolmore here.
Yeah, and that's and at the price, it sort of appeals as a chance in the race, and I could be with it. So small bets on Colette and Lighthouse for me.
You've just. I'm going to have a sanity bet on Lighthouse to make sure I don't lose after being my second pick last week in the Donny. I'm going to. You just reminded me because I'll be filthy if she gets up.
Talk about our friend while he's doing that.
Okay, Top Sport, of course. If you don't have an account, punters, you need to make sure you get one. With plenty of group action this weekend, and Group 1s, it's minimum 10,000 to win early and late 25. And of course, if they designate a major Group 1, which they probably will, I imagine, with the Queen Elizabeth, then they may well go 20 and 50. So best of best options are available as well, and they will always give you a fair bet. So that's our friends there at Top Sport. So going
they'll let us on to win 10 for the Queen of the Turf after this, will they?
Whatever the prices are now, it's to win 10 now because there's group racing on Saturday.
Yeah.
So to win 10 early, to win 10 early minimum Group 1s.
Yeah, yep, and to win 25 late. And when we say late,
Queen Elizabeth most likely is at 20.
15 minutes. I'm thinking it might be. Just because of the hype around the race. Not because it deserves it, but anyway. Okay. Race 10, the Sapphire Stakes. John, what do we got?
Lucky last. Bellucci Babe, a little bit of a surprising favourite from me. 370, Bella Nipotina, 550, 650, Emanate, 850, Wonderbar, 950, Minaj, 17, Jump the Broom, 17, Tricky Gal with the blinkers on, $20, Majestic Shot, 21, 4 moves ahead off the Strange Prep, 21, Marbusha, 31, Fatuse, $61 plus the rest.
John, do you want to start?
I will. I don't really like the race at all. Bit of a nightmare. Looks like there's quite a bit of speed and it could be ugly. A lot of horses wanting to sort of find positions from inside and out. And I sort of fell upon a horse drawn an inside gate here. We'll need a bit of luck in Wonderbar. Just don't think she runs out the 1,500 metres that strong and forgiving, even though she sort of only ran 6th in that Group 1 race last start, back to 1,200. And I think with a bit of luck from that draw, if Damien Oliver can sort of steer her through, she can be strong late, and $8.50 seemed to be attractive for me. Not a horse I've gone out of my way to find before, but just thought it could be the strongest in what looks a good test because they should be a bit of pressure.
Any others that you want to talk about in the race?
None in that. I thought Bellucci Bay was very short. I really liked the horse. I know she ran home well to run 4th in the Group 1 last start, but I think she's best ridden absolutely cold, and I think she's a 1,000 to 1,100 metre horse to be dominant, and I think 1,200 on a testing surface is going to pull her up. So I'm against the favourite, and I found it difficult to nail it down to too many. I know M&A went well last start, thought it was a very different race here, and I just like that Wonderbar's got, distance forms. Won the Newmarket, was it? The Newcastle Newmarket against the Open Graders over 1,400. So she's going as well as she ever has, and I think back to 12 is even better for her.
Jason.
Yeah, tough race. I'm against M&A. Gone through I've wanted to find it off its last win, but just so quite a few disappointing runs at Randwick. It's so hard to tip in this because you just don't know what day they're going to run or how ruined the track's going to be. So I sort of treading with caution. But the two I found were Minaj. So since gone from Hayes to O'Shea, she won 2 Group 3s very, very impressively and was pretty much backed, best backed in the Oakley Plate. And she just drew 1 and got a check, and things just didn't work out for her there. She's only a Group 3 winner, I think. So I think this has been, they've eased up on her from there and aimed at the championships to win a Group 2 race here to try and boost her stud value owned by Rosemont. Look, she's untried in the heavy, but Exceed Excel, Lonro Mare, I'm hoping handles it. I just thought at $10 was worth a play. So horse in this, not sure she's good enough, called Jump the Broom, the 11. She's 4 from 4. Again, drawn wide, which I like. Has won on a heavy 10 at Canterbury, beating not horses of this calibre here. And, she won first up. She jumped out extremely well down here. And then a couple of weeks ago at Mornington, she was held up and had no right to win a benchmark 78 and won really impressively. She's about $20. She's a Sebring, so I think I'm just trying to get horses that'll get through it. So I think a lot of jockeys won't want to be there by this race, and I'm hoping Pike and Jamie Sparr do, and we can get a long price winner in the last, but it won't be going heavy on it.
Yeah, look, small bets again here for me. M&A was impressive. It's got a few things against it. Obviously, its record at Randwick isn't fantastic, so that worries me a little bit, despite the fact that it's been hard in the market on a number of those occasions. There's been a couple of excuses, but I've still got it top pick, and I'm still prepared to have something on it, but it won't be a big bet. I am thinking that Jump the Broom is a genuine chance in this race at big odds, and will definitely be supporting it. And there's obviously other chances in a race like Bella Nipotina and Bellucci Babe, who I just think's under the odds. Wonderbar, the horse you mentioned, John, I'd give it a chance and probably wouldn't want to be losing on it. But for me, probably Emanate and Jump the Broom are the main plays, but once again, fairly small on what looks a fairly tricky day, given the conditions.
So, Paul, are you Jump the Broom on price? Have you got it marked shorter, or
yeah, I've got it marked shorter than the market.
Okay, it's good to know.
So
interesting horse that's had 5 starts basically at 1,200. You don't see that very often. All of them at 1,200.
Yes, but the 1,200 Saturday won't be. It will feel like it's 13 or 14.
14, correct. It's just weird to kick a horse off at 12 and then kick it off again at 12, then kick it off again at 12, and obviously it's only progressed once in its and it went to 12.50 at Canterbury. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is, and look, it's I think it gets into the race okay. So are we talking about best bets? It's on a much harder day this week, I think.
Yeah.
There looks like good angles to most of the races, doesn't there? Like,
good angles. I just can't see I'm going to be betting anywhere near what I did say last week. So
yeah, In the Congo looks well placed, and I like the Sydney Cup the most. No Compromise and Surefire is probably my favourite race of the day. I'm on Douay for my life, so I'll be hiding in the cupboard for that race. They're probably my 3 races.
At early markets where
and doubles and things, but it's probably the best go I've had for the spring. I haven't had too many. I just thought that I just love the 24 back to 2,000 for her as opposed to the others. I just thought that conditions would be like this, and hopefully she finishes off like she has been.
I won't be betting that race. I'll cheer for you, and you can cheer for me in the Oaks. My best for the
Absolutely.
day is Fangirl each way. I think it's an extraordinary price at $13. $4 the place around. I just think, I just hope it's not too wet, and it's a fair track. I can't wait to see her coming down the middle. I'm pumped.
I forgot about that race. I clicked it off.
I'm
with you there.
Do you guys like anything else outside the Group 1s and Group 2s at Randwick?
We don't talk about those races, do we?
Just thought you might.
I thought we could open horse in the first.
Throw our watchers a bone there, Peter.
Well, we're giving them plenty of bones, mate. We've plenty of meat on them too. So, I mean,
no. Say no.
I'm going to say no. But for me, my best on it, and it's not a best as it has been in recent weeks. So I'll be sort of betting probably a 50 to 60% of what I was betting last week. I'm going to say in the Congo.
Okay.
All done. All finished.
All done. So, punters, welcome to the rapid fire again. And, of course, we're wrapping up now, so we don't say welcome. We've got to say goodbye. And, of course, John and I will be here on Monday to do the review. And, of course, if you don't have your Top Sport account, get yourself organised there. And hopefully we can bring you some gold again this weekend, as we have been doing recently. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, John.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Mr. Brightside. Well done, mate.
Well done.